People in my Midwest hometown love selling insurance. I love hanging out with deadly viruses and bacteria. The more dangerous, the better. In my future, it lies in biodefense. The stars aligned perfectly for me to go from a city where I knew few people who left to where I am today, doing research with some of the top scientists working in the field. All it took was for one person and one lab taking a chance on me. I grew up in Des Moines, Iowa, and I'm sure the image in your head right now is corn. In high school, I thought that schools in Iowa were my only option, and those were the only options that were presented to me. However, instead of attending a large state school like 90% of my graduating class, I chose to attend a small university in the heart of Des Moines. Go Drake Bulldogs. Woo! Time flies, and suddenly I've graduated with a bachelor's in biology, and no prospects for jobs were in front of me. I wasn't about to live in my mom's basement forever, so I took to applying for any and all jobs science related. I applied for a whole slew of positions, ranging from the US Department of Agriculture, working with pigs, microbiologist positions at breweries, and academic research labs. After over a month of not hearing a word back from any of these applications I sent in, I received one email that changed my life forever and for the better. I had landed an interview for a research technician position in a lab that studies a group of viruses, including Ebola virus, scientifically named filoviruses. A few interviews later, I landed the job, and I was absolutely elated. I remember being on campus and at the gym a few days after I had got this position, incredibly happy, and I ran into a professor that I had collaborated with on a research project. I told him that I was moving to Boston to work in a lab that researches Ebola. And what he said stuck with me to this day. He said, "Your lab might work on Ebola, but you will never work with the real thing." And that lit quite the fire inside me. 3 short weeks later, I was starting my new position at the National Emerging Infectious Disease Laboratories in Boston, Massachusetts. I worked as hard as I could despite the huge curveball that was thrown at me, which was the COVID-19 pandemic. 10 months later, into my job, my boss informed me that she was enrolling me in the Biosafety Level 4 training program. Now, imagine a super secret, super safe room where scientists work with the most dangerous germs imaginable. And that's basically a BSL-4 lab, the highest level of safety that you can get. And there's only a dozen of these labs in the United States, and 23-year-old me was about to be working in one and prove that professor wrong. It was literally the coolest job I could ever imagine. I worked with the real Ebola virus and some of its cousins like Marburg and Yavia virus. Working in this lab meant that I was in a full body encapsulating suit. Remember Monsters Inc., where they come in and they yell 2319 because there's a sock on someone's back? Yeah, I was in one of those big inflated hazmat suits. And after I worked with the world's most dangerous, how was I ever supposed to go back to a normal lab? Little did I know, the stars would align for me once again here at the University of Chicago in their microbiology department. I dove headfirst into studying the oldest bacteria that causes disease in humans called Mycobacterium tuberculosis, or MTB for short. More than a quarter of the world's population is currently infected with TB. My research will uncover how MTB interacts with different cells in the human body. And one day, I hope that what I discover helps create better medicine and vaccines. Now, MTB infects several areas of our bodies, like the spleen, the blood, can even get into the brain, but it mainly infects the space in our lungs. We have no clue which lung cells MTB likes to cozy up in and use for their own selfish comfort. And this is something I'm really wanting to find out. Also, every human is made up of different DNA. This means that the way MTB behaves in my body might be different from how it behaves in yours. I really strive to know how different people affect the bacteria and the bacteria's DNA, not just our body and our DNA. And this bacteria has evolved alongside humans and faster than humans, so it knows all of our secrets and then some. So I infect human lung and blood cells with MTB, and then I extract the DNA from both of those samples, and I get to see how MTB has changed over time and how we have changed over time. I can even use high powered microscopes to actually visualize and see where the bacteria is and moving during infection. So my life went from cornfields without options to quite literally having endless options in front of me. And if you've ever thought about even leaving your hometown or jumping into science, no matter what field you're in, if you feel stuck, please connect with me and reach out. And I would love to see if I can help make any connections to have you achieve your dreams like I was given the chance to achieve mine.